Hey guys, Kyle here. So, just before the show starts, I wanted to mention our Patreon. You can pay us $1 a month as a thank you, as a tip. You can pay $2 a month to get access to one of our bonus content shows, episodes 2 days early, and a secret Discord chat where all of our Patreon donors get to go and hang out and talk with us directly. Then there's a $5 tier that you can donate to get access to a whole bunch more content. We have multiple bonus episodes on there. So please check it out, patreon.com/itgetsweird. We don't advertise, we don't make money, so check it out and throw some money if you think that would be cool. Thanks.
Welcome to It Gets Weird, our comedy show where we explore the unusual, the unbelievable, and the unexplained to try to make your world a little weirder. I'm Niall.
And I'm Kyle, and I can already tell 2026 is going to be the year of transformative change.
Okay, sure. I like this.
You can see.
I think we could all use a little bit of a rebirth in our lives.
I agree, like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're headed. Maybe. Hopefully, we're not literally phoenixes rising from the ashes, like, because that would sort of imply, like, you know, a tremendous fire and death. But, yeah. I'm just saying, like, my hair is getting longer, and I was just pointing out to you how I've gotten a little germified. My wrists are fucked to shit and totally shot and absolutely fucked. And so I've got, wrist brace stuff. I'm looking really, I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm beginning to look really, really cool. And I feel like as we move into 2026, I will have completed my transformation into a really cool looking guy.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think your next step is to start carrying a fanny pack that has, like, the computer screwdriver set in it,
Oh
and,
my
like,
God, yes.
So, like, some flash drives and that kind of shit,
I have complained about this on the show before, but I am one of two guys in the family who gets to be tech support guy for the rest of the family. Like, I had family members, extended family members, just be like, oh, well, you know computers, so can you tell me this weird specific thing, like why that is a thing with my laptop? And I'm like, maybe. But I recently had a conversation with my dad, who I think I brought up on the show how he had previously called me, and his laptop, I could hear it yelling in the background about a virus being downloaded to his computer. Which turned out to just be some sort of pop-up thing, but, it
scares him, sure.
But just recently, I had a conversation with him where he's like, I need your help. I'm trying to book an Airbnb for a thing.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. He's like, but all the booking, every single page on the Airbnb website, when I try to go to it on this computer, is in Dutch. So so something.
How did that happen?
I don't see, and this is the thing: is like, you could say to me, "Why is my internet slow?" And I would be like, "Oh, well, okay. There's a couple ways you could diagnose this, right?" I know there's a handful of ways that you could diagnose that. There's very tangible things you can do. There are tangible things you can do, but it is difficult when your technical support request is prompted by, why is my computer speaking Dutch? I don't know what to do with that necessarily right off the like. I thought of a couple things, but it's they always seem to come to me with the most baffling questions where I'm like, I don't know what you did, something somewhere down the line, and then when I say that to them, they insist, no, I didn't.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it's never something they did.
So anyways, that just reminded me that I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving time with the family, because I get to take my dad's laptop to the doctor and figure out why it thinks he's in Europe. So that's what you get for
he's got a VPN going hard.
I said, do you use a VPN? No. I said, let's look at your location settings on your computer. They're turned off. I believe me, Niall. I'm already there. It's stuff like this that's driving me towards, like, maybe I can just pivot away from the tech industry at this point. I've dedicated like a decade of my life to it, but like maybe it's time to start. I think I need out. I think I want out, Niall.
Yeah, get into like refinishing furniture or something, you know?
Well,
like
I'm wondering if I could just use a decade of a podcast to convince people I'm a researcher. You know?
Hey,
I don't know.
That's there's something there.
It'd be a fantastic con job if I could.
Yeah.
So now we do have an email to kick us off today, and it actually pertains to the previous episode.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Which we just talked about the butterfly people of Joplin and the butterfly man crop circle thing from the late 2000s. And we also got somebody who responded to us in our Discord. So, you know, if people want to check that out, that's patreon.com/itgetsweird. Check that out. Go ahead and join if you want to see the discussion that got prompted about the butterfly people. But here's what we got from Fate, who has emailed us once or twice before. So here's what Fate says. As I mentioned before, I am from Missouri and was working as a youth pastor when the tornado happened. It was pretty rough. The church I worked for sent money, food, supplies, help to rebuild. It was a horrible ordeal. I've heard all kinds of stories about the butterfly people of Joplin. There is even a country song about them by Tracy Lawrence called Butterfly. So here's the thing. Even though they are described by some as butterfly people, some people describe them as more of being people with wings and eyes on the wings, more of an Old Testament angel description. Other people describe them as almost Mothman-like. It's sort of crazy. I think we did kind of mention how angels were a big part of the conversation with the butterfly people of Joplin. Like, it's in the article.
Yeah.
And it's important to the story, and I think that's also where Fate's going. The general consensus goes a few different directions. One is a mass hallucination caused by the stress of the tornado, causing people to not really understand what they are looking at, such as balloons, parking lot, tube men blowing around, and other crap in the windows. The final, more skeptical viewpoint is trauma causing misremembering because butterflies and wings have become a symbol of hope for the town of Joplin. Sure, this is sort of what I was saying, though, where there is a psychological element that caused the butterfly people to be a good folkloric myth story for the kids to...
Yeah.
I mean, even the article that I was reading goes into this exact thing. Fate says, they are imprinting the symbol of hope to the tornado and random stuff they saw. The final view is, of course, that they were real. Now, them being real split between angel, Mothmen, or aliens, which is sort of nuts. Also, from personal experience, people who saw the butterfly people were not aware of the butterfly crop circle. See, I guess I didn't say that explicitly in the episode, but that's 100% true. The connecting thread there is the fact that the Cryptids Wiki, which talks about the butterfly people, and it's one of a couple places that like compiles information about the butterfly people as cryptids. They take both things and they throw them together as evidence of the existence of butterfly people, or at least as a cryptozoological phenomenon.
Sure. Yeah. Then
Fate says, my view is that a lot of the reports are from children. Well, it's not just your view. That's just a fact also. Sorry. Children make stuff up, and also their imagination can overlap with reality when under great stress and trauma. True, sir. Sure, that's... this is why sometimes children think their invisible friend or imaginary friend is or was real, or sometimes in abuse situations, kids will make an imaginary friend. Also, memory isn't really remembering events. It is remembering how you think the event occurred, and that changes over time. The longer you say a story or tell a story, the more your brain thinks that it is real as well. Essentially, it is the Seinfeld line from George, it isn't a lie if you believe it, but more so done automatically by your brain. Third man syndrome is a thing. The imagining of someone being there when someone isn't that happens during time of stress and trauma. As a man of faith, don't worry, I'm not some super crazy Trump-loving conservative, heck, not even really conservative. I really don't put a lot of stock in a lot of supernatural and paranormal stories, but also as a man of faith, I can't fully say they are 100% false. This one, though, is most likely a logical or psychological reason instead of Mothmen, aliens, or angels. With that said, it has turned butterflies into a symbol of hope and recovery for the town, so no matter what, I guess the idea of butterfly people became a good thing. My final thing I want to talk about with this. I really, really hope you can fit this into your schedule for a FYD episode. There is a documentary about the butterfly people made by a local filmmaker. The film is called The Butterfly People. I learned of it recently. It came out last year. I haven't watched it yet. If you all can do it on your show and could somehow let me know if I can watch it before I listen to your pod, that'd be great.
Okay,
I guess
so
it
we
won
need to
awards.
locate where it is. Okay.
Yeah. So we got links here and an IMDb. Thank you for your wonderful work, Fate. Thank you, Fate.
Thank you.
Well, so what you were saying about no matter what, it became a symbol of hope, which, yeah, you can definitely say that is a good thing. I think that also runs in line with what we were saying at the end of the episode, which is that both the children experiencing this horrible situation, they're doing the same belief-making, myth-making stuff as the conspiracy people, with the end point being that the butterfly is a symbol of hope and good and positive change and growth or whatever,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really loved learning about all that stuff for that story. It was very delightful. So to have, it have a sort of happy ending feeling, which is, I don't want to say rare for the show, but sometimes I think we could use it.
Yeah, I'm not sure it would be considered common for the show either.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, this is the show that has a running joke about dogs being destroyed. So
yeah, So, all right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I didn't really realize when I picked this topic that there is kind of a through line,
synchronicity
in some ways
even
to the butterfly people with this, because there's also kind of an angelic tint to what we're going to be talking about today. I wanted to dig into another alien race and do another primer episode, because I went in here thinking this was going to be just kind of like a normal primer episode, and it ended up being like, oh no, I have to do like 5 more episodes surrounding this thing. Yeah. So I'm going to be back on my bullshit in the kind of new age alien world for a while after this, I think, because Kyle, today I want to talk to you about feline aliens. Sometimes known as the Lyrans, sometimes the Felinoids, the Irma, the Syrians, the Kaujamut.
Syrians are real people.
This is SIR, as in the galaxy Sirius.
Oh, okay, I see.
And there are a bunch of names for these things. We'll talk about where they come from and like the different versions and beliefs and shit. So, but yeah, it's a bunch, basically big cat people.
Yeah, it's okay. So this is a thing I've heard of. You usually see it in those, they're like images where it's like, pick, tag yourself or whatever, and it's just a giant list of different alien races and stuff, and that's usually where you see it. I gotta say, I don't know much about the cat alien people, but you saying that it has synergy with butterfly people, new age mysticism and spirituality, that tracks perfectly. I kind of feel like there's something about anthropomorphized animal alien creatures that is very much in line with that idea, because I guess you could just project what you think that animal symbolically represents onto the
that's what the Draconians are like. People. It's literally just taking the symbolism of the serpent in the Garden of Eden and transmitting it onto aliens. So we Christians just like to make their shit into other shit sometimes.
So let me brainstorm here, because I don't necessarily want to get ahead of you, but if we're going to project the idea of cats onto an alien, what does that look like? So first of all, they clearly have to have some sort of catnip-like drug. That's there has to be some alien drug that they can take that's totally maybe okay, all right. Maybe what it is it's there's no addictiveness. It's like the idealized version of a drug, where it's purely you have a great time on it.
And no downsides?
And there's no downsides. And so maybe they have something like that. Maybe, and for the New Age spiritual community, maybe this drug also is consciousness expanding. This is so catnip. One.
I do like that when I say cat people, the first thing you go to is they've got to have drugs. That's first
fair.
thought.
Well, okay. I guess it's not actually, when I think about it, it's not actually that novel for animals to fuck themselves up on natural substances that are basically drugs, right? But
yeah,
I'm trying to think from the perspective of a New Age spiritual person who lives with cats and goes, there are cat people from other galaxies. I'm basically listing off just traits about cats and how can I alienify them. So big ball of yarn, that's going to be an important one. Maybe they get easily distracted by strings and hair ties and things like that.
Sure.
I don't know.
I think this is all really good in terms of behavioral analysis. I do think that there's something, because I ran into this while I was trying to research this episode, and this is going to be another episode at some point, is in trying to look up feline aliens, you do come across the theory that cats are actually aliens who were seeded onto Earth. And that's why they act so weird. So maybe in reality what it is the ball of yarn is like something on the home planets of these people that they are some sort of dangerous vine or something, and they have to kind of attack it and work around it and stuff. Maybe you're kind of looking at it in the reverse, where we have to take how do the things that cats like on and interact with on Earth represent things that they mirror on their home world,
Sure. Yeah, I've already devised the whole the world building I'm doing in my head right now is insane.
All right, fantastic.
They generate anti-grav on their ships to travel the cosmos. And the way they do it is they've tied butter toast to the back of one of their cat people, and they just drop them in a chamber, and they just spin perpetually, generating energy.
That's actually, they don't have prisons. You just get turned into a fucking turbine for a while.
And just so people understand, cats always land on their feet. Toast always lands butter side up. You put one on the back of the other, and you got free energy. Yeah, and I recommend everybody go try this with their real cats now. So
it is hard to fully synthesize on Earth because cats don't like having diodes attached to them that can harness that energy. Whatever they're called, the little gator clips. The cats don't like having those attached, so you get some kind of fussy situations.
That's true. That is very true.
So okay. So just real quick,
they're gonna do an ancient Egypt thing. I just realized.
Now it actually goes back further than that, but you're not wrong. That is going to be a large part of it. So I'll just go ahead and start here. For some reason, this seems like a thing that I can differentiate early on. You'll see if you try to look up these creatures online, a lot of places will refer to them as Lyrans, Lyrans.
Yeah.
But there are certain people who...
You're waving a book around. Can I get a look at that? Can you show that to me?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I will. It's the Extraterrestrial Species Almanac.
That's fucking awesome. I think you've shown that to me before, but I love that.
I picked this up at a bookstore a little while ago, and so I this is a thing that I just have as a reference, that whenever I'm looking into alien species, this has a version of most of them, because the writer of this book is very into the cosmic law of one, which I did an episode on a while ago.
Yeah.
And it's so everything is kind of through that lens. And so those are the people that differentiates Lyrans from felines, where Lyrans are basically indistinguishable from humankind.
What? No.
They just look, they're in this case, Lyrans are actually more like Nordics.
Okay, yeah, they're sort of, it's hard to explain. They look like humans but their features are just slightly off, like they were generated by
They're slightly
AI.
ossified.
Yeah, they're yassified.
And they separate the lion felines from
Now that's
the
furry
Lyrans.
artwork, is what that is.
Yeah, and that is effectively what Lyrans are, like, or not Lyrans, but felines, aliens. People, there are places that will just say those are the same thing because these beings originally come from the Lyran star system.
Okay,
and so in the Great Lyran War before the Orion Wars, which is another part of the Galactic Federation Council stuff in the history, which I'm going to do. I found a place that has like a web series that goes through the entire galactic history in terms of like the Galactic Federation of Light stuff. And so I'm going to eventually, one of my episodes that I'm going to do is I'm going to watch those and like try to talk about like the grand history of the Galactic Federation, because it's a thing that I've wanted to talk about forever. Because I finally found places that I can get like an actual into like the history there.
Somebody who doesn't have a vested interest in a particular explanation of the greater cosmos needs to do a taxonomy of these alien races.
Yeah.
And a history of these supposed events. Like you said, the Law of One, which I don't even remember exactly what can you give me a very brief explanation of what that was? I don't quite remember.
Yeah, so the Cosmic Law of One is basically this overarching thing in the cosmos for a certain type of person that is kind of a covenant. What it actually is the Ten Commandments turned into a galactic thing. It is very indebted to that kind of list of rules for morality. So it's kind of in the whole thing where there's the war between the like Draco reptilians and the various like light bringing races, which the feline aliens are on the side of good in this cosmic war. So we can all kind of get down with Kitty being good. They go on the side of the Cosmic Law of One as opposed to the evil beings who kind of are out there for the force of evil.
They're just, it's fucking Star Wars and repackaged Christian morality. Like what?
Yeah.
What? My God,
There's literally here it is. The law of unity. Everything is interconnected. When you're at one with yourself, you are at one with everyone. There is no separation.
Sure. Whatever.
Law of vibration. Means. Tuning the spiritual body to vibrate at a higher frequency enriches life. And it goes on. There's like 10 of these. They just keep going through the various
10 commandments of alien.
Correct. Of vibrational thinking.
Yeah. Okay.
And so like that is a thing that will pop up in a lot of the kind of new age UFO alien circles, where instead of which weirdly I didn't like. When I first started looking into this stuff, I didn't know enough about the like hyperdimensional, like the kind of whatever they call it, the Jacques Vallée thing, where they're not aliens from extraterrestrial, from other planets. They're actually from various planes of existence.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that stuff mixed in, but there also still are planets. Like they kind of do a thing where they have both, because they want to have, what they really want is for these other dimensions to be related to like heaven and stuff.
Okay, so I understand what you're saying. So basically, to understand this flavor of new age extraterrestrial mysticism and spiritual whatever, you have to understand that dimensions, like higher dimensions that situate themselves above us, whatever that actually means to these people. That's like the higher you go, the closer you are to what is effectively the dimension where heaven literally resides. Like the kingdom of heaven is a plane of existence.
And that is like in the Cosmic Law of One, that is the one. Like the one is like the cosmos
from which all filters
of
out
the universe.
Now, the lower dimensional stuff, in other words, where the energy vampires and other parasitic extraterrestrial and interdimensional beings reside, they want to drag you down to the hell dimension.
Well, basically. they also are in certain higher dimensions because they're powerful and more smart than us.
Sure,
but like they
want to
keep you down
of your ability to enter higher dimensions.
Correct. Yeah, they try to keep you
yeah.
at the third dimension instead
Yes.
of letting you attain a higher vibrational frequency.
I want to make sure all of that's clear before we continue. These I love these so much. I'm so deeply entertained by all of the alien new age spiritual stuff that we dig into, but the more we do it, the worse it is to try and like do an episode where people feel like they can be onboarded. You know what I mean? It's all fucked up.
Yeah, I think that that's something that we will hopefully avoid a little bit when I do the other episodes surrounding this, because a lot of them are going to be centered around people, so you kind of get onboarded into their specific brand of shit. But there are a couple things that I want to do that, like, I added like bookmarks to about 5 episodes just by trying to do this episode. It's one of those.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of back in this realm for a while, I think, because I want to kind of. There was a thing that I'm going to talk about just a bit. I'm just going to kind of I found there's a group that operates in this space that's pretty recent, that talks about this race of aliens a decent amount. Like, they pop up pretty regularly, but so many of the other online new age alien type sects fucking hate these people and think that they're a dark psyop, and I think that's really interesting. It also looks very AI generated. I'll tell you that much. We'll get to it eventually.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that but like there might be a full blown like counter op kind of thing in this space that I want to do an episode on. Yeah, so you'll just, if you look up this group, they're called Swaru, and when you try to look up stuff that they talk about and everything, you'll find just Reddit posts of people being like, "Why do people trust these guys? They're fucking charlatans." Like, it's really funny.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
it's the duplicitous nature of the cat that they're tapping into.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about what these beings are, where they come from, their history, that kind of shit, because that's what we're here for, right? These are humanoid felines, so they do have they're bipedal. They have overall kind of humanoid bodies, but then they have a lot of cat features, including big cat heads. So when Kyle said there's images in my extraterrestrial species almanac, and it looks like someone drawing their fursona with like longer dreadlock type hair and stuff, and like a lion's face and all that. Yeah. A lot of them look like these kind of majestic lion heads on top of like your generic humanoid body.
These people, like, it's funny that there's a divide here, because it felt like some people were just like, we can't go full Mr. Mistopheles here. That's just not, we won't allow for that. But then other people are like, well, let's just go past Mr. Mistopheles and just fully embrace the furry side of it, which I support, frankly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny that they definitely don't go all the, like, the humanoid one. It barely registers that it has cat features, but when somebody says it to you, you go, "Oh, I can see what you're saying."
No, but a lot of them are just like, we put a lion head on the shoulders of a man,
which
and
is
maybe
very
gave
biblical.
it paws. Yeah, it's pretty good. I enjoy that a lot. So alongside the Nordic aliens, these are one of the more common, quote, positive species when you're dealing in the kind of metaphysical channeling spaces. These are kind of pro peace in the galaxy, and they act as kind of a somewhat of a peacekeeping force in certain readings of their mythos, which we'll talk more about that specifically in a little bit. But they are overall aligned on the side of good. There aren't, like, I didn't come across any like evil subsections of cats that they were talking about or anything. Yeah,
that's surprising,
a lot of times,
because
like,
I've met real cats who are on the side of evil.
Same, yeah. There's I have my grandma's first cat, Zoe, fucking hated everyone except for my grandmother, and would not like if you got within 10 feet of it, it just was hissing and swiping at you. It was like,
oh my God,
so territorial. Yeah, and she was in a small apartment. Like it was a mess. All right,
also,
so
we kind of we kind of breezed past this, but I do want to point out that what you just said, you're saying people channel the Lyrans. People, some of the information I'm assuming is from people who are able to channel psychically or spiritually with
Kyle,
Lyran
yes.
aliens.
The sure. Lyrans, yeah, the Lyrans, felines, because the Lyrans are, that's not feline is the best term, because Lyran will get you into a whole debate with people who think that that's a separate species. So here's some just descriptions. We've got they're described as tall, muscular beings who are covered in fur and possess distinctly feline features: tails, whiskers, slit pupils, and pointed ears. They have fur ranging from white to black to gold to blue to even silver. And they're often depicted as resembling specific earth cats such as lions, tigers, leopards, panthers, or even various domestic breeds. So you'll get like, and a thing that I think is funny about these things is there's typically kind of a hierarchical thing, which these are just the kind of tells that I've picked up over the years about like how made up a lot of things are that I'm looking into. Because whenever you look up any sort of like image about these things and people are kind of like trying to figure out what the society of the feline aliens would look like, they always stick the straight up lion as like the most majestic leader, front and center, highest above. Like they put like the king of the jungle is also, that whole thing is transmitted into like everyone's depictions of this alien race that supposedly has actually very little to do with actual cats.
I was going to say, have they pointed out that the king of the jungle is a human projection, or
I'll tell you this. That never came up in my reading.
You know what? I figured out a way to solve that question, actually. I did a little mental hacking into a feline alien brain real quick, and I downloaded some information, and then I uploaded my own interpretation, and here's what I got. Felines, ancient aliens, right? Felines placed on this earth, aliens from outer space, that's cats, right?
Sure.
Cats wanted to seed that idea into the human mind during ancient alien times, so that cats were represented the way they wanted to be represented by the human race. This respected and prideful pride of lions, Niall.
Mm-hmm.
That was programmed into our brains by the ancient alien cats.
Hey, that makes about as much sense as any other option.
Thank you.
I'll take it.
So we not only owe the alien cats who have been here for the entire existence of humanity for our belief that lions are the most fearsome king of the jungle. We also owe them for Omaha the cat dancer.
Because you mentioned Germa at the beginning of this episode, I keep wanting to say King of the Jungle.
Jungle, yeah.
Yeah. And like that it's only funny if you watch way too much Germa. And so I keep trying not to do it, but sometimes you have to get the brainworm out of your head when you're recording a podcast. Otherwise you can't think of anything else.
King of the Jungle is a complete earworm. Or brainworm. I get it.
Yeah. So these cats are typically between 7 and 9 feet tall. Now, I have seen places that will extend that range from like 5 up to about 12 feet tall. 7 to 9 is the most common, though. They have lean, muscular physiques that emphasize agility and strength, much like cats. They have large almond-shaped, often golden, green, or blue eyes with those like vertical slit pupils. There is kind of a mix like between those that are covered in fur and those that are just like have skin. I don't know why there's a differentiation. there's never a place that was like, here's why these people, these ones are less feline than these ones, and these have skin, these have fur. It was just there's a gamut of options here. And they have very long lifespans, sometimes stretching up to thousands of years, with the longevity being touted by, or kind of being because of their advanced genetics, various spiritual practices, and highly developed technology that lets them regenerate their cellular structure. So they have advanced technology as well.
That lines up perfectly with the concept of cats having 9 lives, a concept placed in here by ancient alien cats in our minds.
Now, Kyle, I'm so glad you keep saying ancient aliens, because one of the places that you'll find where that the feline aliens show up is in the works of a guy named Anton Parks. He's a French researcher and contactee who's written a whole series of books that's kind of in the Zechariah Sitchin mold, where he's going back through history and kind of reinterpreting our history with this new information he's found about the alien functions inside of that. And he's doing Sitchin again.
There's
basically
something. I feel like there's a lot of Europeans at the forefront of ancient aliens stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder what the deal is with that.
I mean, like, I don't really know. I think that there's just, I don't know if it's just like a trend of the time or something, but it really does feel like there was this kind of thrust of kind of Eastern European people, because like Sitchin and like Ike and this guy, and like when you look through it, like all of Von Daniken, like all of them.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, here's my off the cuff theory, and by no means am I saying that either Europeans or Americans are not also predisposed to each other's ways of thinking. But what it reads to, because like when you look at a lot of the American stuff, it's like we're very hardcore about anti-science conspiracy thinking. The European stuff almost feels like it's anti-history.
Sure.
So, maybe that's something we can do with that what you will, listener. I don't know what to make of that, but that's my first impulse hearing this, thinking about this idea. Anyways.
So Anton Parks referred to these beings as the Irma, which is a term meaning both lion and great warrior. He got this term from the ancient Sumerians, who he's writing about. Supposedly, the ancient Sumerians had some gods that were feline, and that is kind of where he thinks that basically the ancient feline aliens came down and interacted with the Sumerians. And that's why that's why these beings that then eventually went all the way up through like ancient Egyptians, where there were this kind of reverence for cats and deities with cat heads and stuff, all kind of is tied back to this ancient alien race.
It's funny when they bring up these ancient gods and stuff, ancient Sumerian gods or Egypt even, as anthropomorphized creatures. And, I don't, this is me just kind of, again, just reaching for an answer without actually being totally informed. But like, I think that anthropomorphizing creatures that we see, it does a little bit, I think, come from this like when we look at a dog and we go, oh, the dog is smiling at me. That's not exactly true, but because you're the one looking at it, you're projecting this like human stuff onto it. And we end up seeing humanity in those animals. And then it gets reflected back to us. So, it does make sense that people for all recorded history would be like, what if there was an actual human thing of that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it just makes a lot of sense. Like, I realize it sounds like I'm trying to say like, oh, dogs don't actually feel or whatever. It's like when you look at them and you think they're smiling, they don't actually. No, I'm not saying they don't or whatever. I'm just saying that
dogs
like
have
the human
emotions.
trait. Yeah, dogs.
They just aren't they aren't readable as direct analogs to human representation of emotion.
Exactly. And so we see that in them. And so this is my assumption of what's happening when we are like, when human history can always say, we love an animal that's also a guy, you know? Like, anyways.
Yeah. So to Parks, these feline warriors these feline aliens are known. They're a part of a group that, this is a thing there will be an Anton Parks episode in the future, so I'm not going to go into every detail of this. I don't have everything here, but they're a part of a peacekeeping force known as the Kadistu, which the Kadistu is largely made up of feline aliens, but then there's some like positive reptilians that are healers. There's various other kind of alien races that make up this force, but they are a literal, like, think they're basically the UN peacekeeping force, like for the
Sure.
like
No,
I'm sure that to them it's a lot different, and there's a lot of nuance that I'm missing, and I'll probably find stuff that blows that explanation out of the water by the time I do the full episode. But on my cursory understanding of the Kadistu, it is like a force that is made up of beings from different planets that all work together as part of the overall good of the cosmos. They're trying to effectively work as now. Parks specifically differentiates, as far as I can tell, these beings from actual angels. But they are kind of metaphorically the kind of Elohim of the Bible, but for, instead of being for God, they're of the quote original source, which is, you know, your
right,
his stand-in for God creation.
Elohim are almost like angels, right? They're sort of like the offspring of, or the offshoot of God or whatever.
Yeah, and to him, the Irma and the Kadistu in general live in a heaven-like realm called Angal, and only certain ones of them can actually directly interact with the third dimension, which is why a lot of people that talk to them now do so through some form of channeling or through even kind of starseed-esque inhabitations. So there are people who live on Earth who believe they are starseeds of feline aliens.
Oh, that.
Yes.
Yeah. Cat girls and cat boys.
Yeah. So now a couple of them have been able to come to Earth, which to them is a holy place, despite the fact that only few of them can actually make it here. And that is kind of what leads to these god cats throughout history. Those are the ones that can come in and kind of hang out. They're the ones that are able to come here. Now there are a couple other people that like Parks is one of the early. I think one of the earlier. There's like him, Elena Denon, who I'm going to do a whole episode on, a guy who's more modern named Stuart Swerdlow, who actually has ties to the Montauk Project. He was okay. So he's a guy that is listed as a Montauk child that whole conspiracy, but under a different name. So I'm going to do a Stuart Swerdlow episode at some point as well. He separates the feline aliens into two subgroups known as the Ari and the Karoti, where the Ari are depicted as winged lions and the Karoti are a hybrid species genetically engineered from the Sirius system to serve as starship pilots. So I'm very excited to get more into his beliefs.
I would also very much like to go and revisit the Montauk stuff at some point.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
I think there's more there that we could talk about.
Yeah, I agree as well. Oh, here it is. So the 12-foot tall version, a guy named a contactee named Ray Koselandich, was contacted by these beings, and he described them as gentle and telepathic, stating, quote, "Many people have cats on Earth, and I do too. These people come from the fifth dimension. They range in color from brown to blue, are 9 to 12 feet tall, and communicate telepathically. They're really nice." So shouts out to
hell yeah,
to the feline aliens who were really nice to Ray Koselandich.
Cool cats. Cool for cats. Yeah. Shit,
Squeeze.
I was trying to
Love
squeeze. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think if there was another cool cat like reference that I could make, but I only had those two.
Yeah. So here is the supposed origin of the species. I honestly, okay, a lot of times when I'm doing these episodes, I try to have like who first came up with this type of alien. I had a lot of trouble differentiating that on this one because it seems like because it's based, like a lot of people were pulling like the basis for this alien. Let me describe it this way. The basis for this alien is the fact that certain ancient races depicted humanoids with feline heads. Mm-hmm. So finding out who was the first person to develop a mythology for that in the cosmos is a little bit difficult. But it's a thing that I'm still kind of searching for.
Sure.
But in general, when we get into the kind of history of this noble race, they originally are typically thought of as coming from the Lyra constellation, which is why a lot of people will call them Lyrans, even though various other people will take issue with that. Meanwhile, other people associate them with the Sirius A system. Now, in certain versions of this story, which like the main ones that you'll see, they do originally come from Lyra, but then due to the Lyran Wars, which is a whole thing, there's two great cosmos-based wars in the grand history of our universe, as far as I can tell. There's the Lyran Wars and there's the Orion Wars. The Orions is the one with like all the Alpha Draconians and like the Zeta Reticuli people and all that kind of stuff. That is like the biggest one. But the Lyran Wars are, as far as I can tell, its predecessor, even though that's debatable by some people's accounts where they're actually flipped, and that's a whole other thing. But the Lyran Wars were the first war that drove a lot of the beings of good out of the Lyran constellation, and instead they were then rehomed in the Sirius A constellation. That's where they established new colonies and started to have interactions with new types of beings, including the Cetacean beings, which are they're aquatic. So they kind of diversified their roster when they moved into this new star system.
Other Earth-based animals, but as aliens, I'm guessing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Does so did they also participate in this Orion War?
I believe they might have had. I think the Kadistu might have had some stuff in the Orion Wars. So the Orion Wars are a thing that comes about through Alex Collier. He seems to be the guy that kind of originated a lot of this stuff. The Orion Wars lasted for about 600,000 years, and that's when the Council of Nine was created. And also the Andromedan Council and the Galactic Federation of Worlds. I do believe that the Lyrans, or the Felines, were involved in these, but kind of in a secondary capacity, because the main thing in this was the Alpha Draconians and the Nebu Greys versus the Galactic Federation of Worlds and the Andromedan Council, which was made up of a bunch of different humanoids. And so like you don't have, I haven't seen a lot of direct involvement from the felines in there, but I do believe they're part of these councils, so they were involved in some way, shape, or form. But their main thing is the Lyran War, where they were attacked by a group called the Siakar, and driven out of the Lyran star system.
Pretty sure the Siakar's from Avatar, James Cameron's Avatar.
Is that true?
I think. I don't know. Yeah, Jesus. Well, it's good to know that throughout the cosmos, human and Earth-centric, like anthropocentric concepts are thriving. We've got war. It's just like on a bigger scale. We have the bureaucracy. It takes 600,000 years to set up a council to end the war, and also everything's a fucking humanoid. So that's cool.
And I found a thing, kind of a timeline here. where the Siakar Empire ransacked the Lyran zone in 88,000 BC. And at this point, the survivors on board Arks carried archives of DNA banks from their worlds into a widespread diaspora and established new colonies in Sirius A. So, yeah, 88,000 BC is when a lot of this shit happened.
It's arbitrary, frankly.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, yeah. Sorry, I've started using tabs on my notes because I'm fancy like that, and so I have my main notes on a tab, and then I have an entire tab that's just like a history of the Lyran and Orion Wars, which will then be probably the basis for another episode's worth of notes where I'm going to talk about like it is fun seeing how you basically we're just keep reinventing like World War II, like.
And also I hear this and it's like, why don't you just try some creative writing? Like why do we have to have this layer of like, this really happened in the greater cosmos between cat aliens? Like, just like write a book. I don't know.
That's how like the guy, Anton Parks wrote, I think like 5 books as part of his history of the galaxy. And I don't know how they were published, if they were published as nonfiction or if they were published as speculative fiction, but it really does come off like the way they talked about it. Sitchin wrote as if he was piecing together research. As far as I can tell, this guy wrote in a slightly more story-based faction, kind of,
and like would make sense from what I'm hearing. It's like it's just an odd framing to like. I guess, like, okay, I understand writing about like, let's say, UFOs from the perspective of these things are real, because there's like an air of like mystery. You can't. There's enough to go on to believe that it might be real, right? Like if you're a skeptic or whatever. But when you start saying, I know this information about a cosmos level war that lasted 600,000 years, 88,000 years ago or whatever, like when you start saying stuff like that, it's like you've completely gone past the suspension of disbelief. And of course, but people do just at a certain point. There are some people who just buy into that anyways, which is, I don't know. I guess I just don't have that impulse, and it's hard for me to put myself in the shoes of somebody who does. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. So it is kind of hard. Like, I think that's part of what makes me enjoy this realm of stuff so much is because it's so science fiction. Like it's so just.
I love it. Don't get me wrong.
But it's so silly.
Yeah.
When you get into it, and it like, but it in the entertaining way. Like I every time I read stuff like this, it's like I'm listening to fucking Judi Dench do an exposition dump in Chronicles of Riddick, which is like one of my favorite. And for those that don't know, that Chronicles of Riddick is amongst the canon of my favorite films of all time. So like I like when someone is like, you just have to roll with this wild ass thing I'm going to say so that you can then roll with the 10 other things I'm going to stack on top of that into a house of like cards built on nothing. And I find it very fun.
It's funny you should bring up the Dame Judi Dench, since she was also in Cats, which then just further proves the synchronicity happening right now. Mm-hmm. And frankly, I'm beginning to suspect that this episode was planted in our minds by the ancient alien cats.
I think that's very true. Alternately, I think we might be getting infiltrated by Swaru.
True.
Where we're getting kind of fake information that is supposed to kind of lead us in the wrong direction.
I guess at a certain level, there is a subset of people in the world of weird who just want to LARP. That's kind of what it is, I guess. I guess it's okay, but it's not going to work for everybody. And I guess I love it not because I think it's real. I love it because it's a funny story.
Yeah. So the Swaru, like I said earlier, the Swaru have a whole other fucking arc of the cosmos. In this case, the Irma actually come from the Vega star system, from a planet called Avion, and they are still spoken of very highly in terms of like being a positive force, but they're also thought of as like a kind of dominant race across the galaxy. They're like a much bigger. That basically they get elevated pretty high by Swaru in a way that I don't think like in most other tellings of this stuff, and most of the other people I've looked at that talk about the feline race, they are powerful, they are respected, they are all these things, but they're not like leading everything across the galaxy. But in Swaru, they are like one of the dominant races of aliens, and like they are in equal footing to the Draconians, which makes me wonder if there was if like the whole thing where the Draconians kind of wrecked the shit out of these feline aliens happened in the Swaru account of the universe, because I don't know that. But yeah, that's the thing that Swaru is the thing that people think is, that are in this community think is like a fucking op. And I greatly, if you go look at their website, Swaru is SWARUU. If you look at just the header of their website, you immediately understand why people think this is entirely AI generated. It looks very uncanny valley.
Oh my God. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
I've seen this exact kind of thing many times before. This is really incredible. It looks bad.
They basically seed a bunch of information about this realm of things, but their accounts of like everything differ just enough to make it like confusing. And so people think that this is like an intentional disinformation thing.
Uh-huh.
And I find that really fascinating. So I'm gonna look into it more in the future. But
they look like fucking Master Chiefs. They look like Halo characters. This is awesome.
And so Swaru is a channeling thing. That people they have supposedly have various people who channel these beings and have like kind of starseed energy and shit.
What the fuck?
And what I like is on the homepage of their website, they have like all of the channelers lined up at the top with like renderings of them. But then there's one in the center that is like swirled out of existence, so you can't see what it is. It's like you're looking at a blind box list and there's a chase, you know?
Yeah, it's I'm looking at the exact same thing. I did just click the extras tab on here, and all they have on the extras tab is printable materials from third parties, and the sections here are vaccine leaflets, COVID-19 leaflets, another so it's all COVID and vaccine
isn't there
related.
isn't there some part of it that says like COVID pamphlets against or something? Like there's some place that's like this isn't pro
United against COVID-19.
There it is. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just going to read this. The COVID-19 scam, united against the COVID-19 scam. COVID-19 mortality turned out to be many times lower than expected and close to that of a normal seasonal flu. There is no medical justification for any emergency policy. What does this have to do with anything?
Every single conspiracy theory website decided to like take a very big line in the sand on COVID in a way that is it never works out well for them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is third-party material, but at least say something here to tie it into your bullshit, you know? Like, at least sell me that it matters to your... Oh, God, what... I shouldn't be looking at this website while we're podcasting, but wow, is it good.
Yeah, you can really lose a little while on there if you want to. So let me rope you back in here and talk... I just want to introduce... Kyle, have you run across a woman named Alina Danan?
It sounds vaguely familiar, but I can't say for sure.
So yet again, she's French-born.
Oh my God.
She's an author, archaeologist, and self-described contactee and experiencer. So she will make a very specific differentiation between what she does and channeling, despite the fact that a lot of her stuff comes from her contact with an alien, an extraterrestrial named Thor-Han Eridion. Along with, I think she supposedly also has contact with Enki, the god of the Sumerians.
Uh-huh.
And I So I don't, but she will say she's not a channeler. So I don't know exactly how that works. Elena Danaan is maybe the episode I want to do the most out of all of this stuff. I'm gonna talk about her more going forward, because she is kind of at the heart of a lot of this feline alien stuff. She wrote a whole thing called the Encyclopedia Galactica that describes like all of the alien races, and she has written a bunch of books and also like way too many screeds online, and she's one of those people that just like the YouTube channel is dense with like 3-hour videos of her just ranting.
Oh boy. Oh god. Okay.
So she's a very big figure in this kind of new agey alien circle. And I want to cover her more in depth. So she's kind of where a lot of the full blown the feline aliens are descendants from people who fled during the Lyran Wars. She kind of originated a lot of that stuff. And so if I had to point at a person that kind of synthesized a lot of the feline alien stuff into what it is, I think Elena Danaan is who a lot of people are kind of pulling from. I don't know the exact origin point for her and Anton Parks, depending on who did it first, but Elena Danaan is like the person that's going to come up almost the most of anybody trying to look up stuff about the feline aliens. So that's like a whole other she's a whole episode in and of herself. Now it's between her and Stuart Swerdlow, because Stuart Swerdlow claims to be a time traveler and a veteran of the Montauk experience, and that's before he ever got into all of the like alien race galactic stuff. And now he's the one that's working with a group called for galactichistory.net. Shouts out, I guess. I haven't watched these videos yet. I'm going to. There's like a 6-part YouTube series about the history of the galaxy and all of these wars and all of these things. And he supposedly is a child of the Montauk experiments. So I'm very curious how that's going to go. They literally, like, the website has credits for him, for one other like researcher person, and then a synth duo that do the music for their videos. It's really I hope these videos are going to be as good as I want them to be, because if so, I'll be very happy. But he also has a book called Blue Blood, True Blood, in which he basically goes through a lot of the stuff that Elena Danaan has talked about of, the Lyran system and the creation of the Galactic Federation, the fights against the Draco reptilians, all of that kind of stuff. So he kind of co-signs a lot of the stuff that Elena Danaan talks about as well. So the last thing that I want to kind of hit real quick is I debated doing these at all, because but there are some supposed sightings and contacts, like encounters with cat aliens throughout history. There are 3 that I came across through various places. And I just want to go through them quickly, because even though not all of them have direct relation to these aliens specifically, but I think it's worth talking about these couple encounters that have happened. So
this is contact with cat aliens. Yes,
correct.
Okay.
Yes. So the first one took place in Fulham, England, in London, in January 1st, 1979. And it took place on a place called Finborough Road, where Neil Oram and Mariah Mustaka were having dinner in her flat when they were kind of hanging out on the sofa listening to music after dinner was done, and her cat just started going nuts. It wasn't screaming, it was like howling like a wolf and running in and out of the room, into the bedroom, back down the hallway, up and down the hallway, just yelling like crazy.
Very normal cat behavior, frankly.
Maria then tried to catch it, but it started to claw at her and just kept howling and would not be couldn't pick it up, you couldn't do anything. Maria exclaimed that she'd never seen her cat behave anything like this. When all of a sudden she saw a huge cat person lit up on the wall at the end of her garden. This cat person was crouching. The witnesses state that it was probably approximately hitting the top of the 6-foot garden wall. So you're dealing with an alien here between 5 and 6 feet tall.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying crouched. It was at the top of the 6-foot gate.
No. When it stood up, it had a cat's face, something between a cat's and a human's face. So this is on the more like cat-like
furry,
features on a human body more than the full-blown cat head thing. Supposedly Neil, for some reason, like, okay, this is what the account says. This was an account given directly from the witnesses to the Fortean Times, issue 442. It says, somehow Neil knew what it was like. He felt spaced out but not afraid. It seemed to emanate a powerful, quiet ambiance as it floated down into the garden. Maria was shaking and digging her nail into Neil's palm. The cat person, roughly 5 feet tall, started to walk upright toward them, almost glide-walked towards them. And as this elemental of utter strangeness approached the large French window, Neil could sense an invisible, steady, intense air pressure building up on the creature's side of the window. Neil thought the glass had cracked, but again, it was Maria's cat howling distraughtly. The being then raised its palms. It says palms specifically, not paws, so it doesn't have cat paws. It has hands. And the being then pressed its palms against the glass, and at this point, Maria passes out for a few seconds before she wakes back up. But Neil was under the impression that this thing didn't know what windows were. I don't exactly know how you come to that conclusion here.
Like it sees them through, like an animal might when it looks through a window and sees something on the other side, and it's like, why can't I get through that?
Yeah, it stood with its palms on the window for like 20 seconds, they say, and then turned around and walked back to the wall, and then almost float on top of the wall, and seemed to kind of scan around a little bit, then disappeared beyond the wall and went away. So it was only seen in this person's garden for like, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute total. And it didn't really do anything. It just kind of scanned and looked around and pressed its palms against the glass.
It reads like a prank. Like somebody put on some sort of mask and walked up to these people while they were looking out the window and then jumped over the wall. But, and like maybe it was what, at night, like nighttime they see this, and maybe the cat saw it. You know, you've seen the videos, the viral videos where people put on cat masks and they go around the corner and they're actual cats in the room and the cat just starts fucking losing its shit. Maybe that's what we're seeing here. I don't know.
Yeah, like it you gotta wonder, because it was 1979. When did Cats the musical run?
I don't actually know.
Because like maybe you caught the understudy for somebody just kind of hanging out, you know?
That's entirely possible. Holy shit! Do you think that if a Lyran was here on Earth and you put like a cucumber behind it and like told it to turn around, it would like fucking spring into the air in fear? That would be awesome.
I forgot about the cucumber thing. Remember when like one of the most viral trends you could do was torturing your cat?
Yeah, putting tinfoil on the counter, showing it a cucumber.
Jesus Christ.
I just wonder if that works for feline aliens too.
I mean, hey, I maybe we'll find out, because I out of all the alien races, I honestly, this would probably be one that I would be more chill about meeting, because I have yet to find a single account or source that says they have anything but good intentions.
Sure.
And so I think that like I don't know why I would need to try to kind of scare it.
Fair.
But if needed, I would be down to give it a shot. You know,
you just like if you start a rapport with a feline alien that comes down to our planet, and you start to be chummy with it, and the alien starts to tell you like, oh, I'd love to learn more about human society and stuff. Can you take me places? Just don't take them to Joe's cucumber and tinfoil hut.
Yeah, yeah. Keep it away from the veggie section at your local supermarket. So there's one other. I'm not going to go in deep on this one because this is a cryptid sighting. It's not actually. But there's a thing called the Wikomiko Catman that's a cryptid in Maryland.
Yeah. I've actually seen this article, but go ahead.
Yeah, people will kind of bring that up when talking about cat aliens because it's an unknown creature that is a cat, but it's a cryptid. So there's a lot like Wikomiko Catman could be an episode, so I'm not going to go in detail there. But basically, it was a four-legged. Feline humanoid thing that was seen in Maryland in 1980, and they eyewitnesses all basically said it was unlike anything in the area. So but that's a cryptid to me. It's four-legged instead of all of the feline aliens are bipedal. So we're gonna. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about real quick. This is just weird. I don't know what the fuck this is. This is one of those things that when you take it at face value, it's very weird. When you listen, there is an actual recording of the thing that we're going to talk about here, and when you listen to that, it's kind of like, you know, when you see people post like, here's my UFO footage, and you look at it and you're like, that doesn't seem that convincing. This is the audio version of that, because what it is it's called the Yakutsk incident, UFO incident. This took place in 2011 in Siberia. So in March of 2011, air traffic controllers at Yakutsk airport reported a fast-moving UFO moving over 6,000 miles per hour that disrupted various aviation frequencies. Controllers described hearing a, quote, female-sounding voice speaking an unintelligible cat-like language over their radio channels. Specifically, they said that it sounded like a female voice doing like meow meow kind of stuff. And so there was a Daily Mail headline that kind of made this incident somewhat famous that was entitled Close Encounters of the Purred Kind, which is not like that great of a title, honestly. I think you could do better, but I get it. Now, you can find a recording of this. You can listen to the recording. I don't really hear cat.
Mm-hmm. Well, what does it sound like then? Like what's?
I mean, it sounds like static and just like, you know, like it just sounds like noise. I don't like, there is some sort of voice in there, but I don't know. Go listen for yourself. Like, everyone go out, if you're interested, go look up the Yakutsk UFO incident and you'll find, I believe it's straight from the air traffic controllers. They recorded some of this stuff and you can listen to it. It's interesting. I don't know what it is. So that's literally like, in terms of quote unquote sightings of cat-like aliens, that's literally all I have. It's kind of weird how few there are, because these aliens like everything else is, you know, talking about like Bast of the Egyptian god and like Sekhmet and stuff like that, where it's like ancient, you know how people will different, like whenever you talk about the earliest alien encounters, it's like 1940 whatever, and that, but people go, well, except for like ancient aliens, when people, you know, like when humanity was visited by aliens in like in ancient times, and it kind of throws that whole thing, because like ancient aliens gets kind of othered by a lot of UFO contactees, which I think is good, because a lot of it is absolute nonsense that's based on nothing. But it's in terms of like modern sightings that aren't people channeling or like talking to feline aliens, that's about all that I can find.
Does it seem to you that the excuse is that these are higher dimensional beings, like that we just can't interact with them? Is that mostly how people interact with them?
In the parks version, they are like in a higher plane, and only some of them can occasionally interact with our dimension. So otherwise, you're basically only relegated to types of like channeling type contact. And so there isn't a lot of like, in the modern era, a lot of physical run-ins with these beings, because they just don't, they don't spend time on the third dimension, really, you know?
Okay. I gotta say, I'm very excited to hear that I didn't realize that the feline Lyran alien stuff was so big, so I hope that there will be plenty more yarns.
We're going to talk a lot about the fucking galactic wars, I gotta tell you.
And I think that, we gotta get really thorough about trying to get as many alien cat story nuggets as we can, and make sure that we don't throw the nuggets out with the kitty litter. I don't know. I don't know. We can put that one back in the oven, come back to it.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. But honestly, like, not a terrible segue into what my big question was going to be.
Okay.
So we'll go. Are you ready for your big question?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was having some trouble coming up with something, so I kind of just went with something that seems a little basic, but it's what it is, you know? If you were to encounter a feline alien, what type of cat toy would you try to use to befriend them as, like, kind of... I figure, like, it's good to, like, have kind of a peace offering with a new alien race when you meet them, you know? Like, so here, what do you think you would want to give this?
This is the easiest answer in the world, and it's based off of real-life experience living with an alien cat. They don't actually really go for toys that much, or they get really bored of them very quickly. But you know what they never, ever get bored of, I have found?
What?
Is a hair tie. You take a hair tie, and you just start like, And
you just shart?
You just shart. Sorry, that was me speaking. You just start, flicking that thing around. The cat will literally never get bored of the hair tie. It's like... You could buy all the extravagant electronic bird that flaps its wings and squeaks or whatever, or you got just a mouse on a stick, on a string. You can do whatever, you can do all that, and that's great. But I really think that you're going to have to try the hair tie, because that is, in my experience, Parky the cat, my roommate of multiple years, he loves hair ties. That's the thing that always gets him going every time, without fail.
All right.
I have a feeling, I'm going to go, I'm growing this hair out, right? Like you can see,
yeah.
I'll eventually be able to put it up in a hair tie. And what I'll do is I'll go before the Council of the Lyrans, and they'll start talking to me about the Law of One. And as soon as I get bored, I'll just take that hair tie out of my hair and just start flicking it around, and they'll instantly drop what they're doing and just start chasing it.
I think that's fantastic. I think, honestly, like, it's low, keeps the budget low, keeps your overhead manageable. Easy. Yeah. You can just go to Walmart and get that fucking 25 pack, and you're good to go for the entire landing party.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Meanwhile, I'm going to go in a little different direction. I think, like, if we look at these people as part of this kind of, like, peacekeeping force, they got to keep their skills sharp. They got to keep those claws sharp. So I want to get them kind of a full humanoid-sized scratching post thing.
Sure, yeah.
Like, I think that would be a good start to, like, keep everything nice and sharp and ready for battle.
I love where your head is at. Can I help you with this as a person who's lived with a cat for multiple years? They're not going to use that scratching post.
No?
So here's what you do. You get them the scratching post, and it's like, oh, here's your gift. And I'm going to take this nice, pristine, brand new couch that I will be sitting on. And I want to watch you, and you tell them, I want to watch you play with the new scratching post I got you. Guaranteed, all they'll want to do is scratch up that couch. Okay. And you have to use it. You have to use the couch. You have to sit on it and have it be a fixture of your life. And that's what they will ignore the scratching post in my experience. Okay. So maybe try the couch maneuver, so that it's a bundled gift.
What if I just sit on, if I find it like a comfy place to sit on the scratching post, will they use it then?
They know.
Okay.
The cats are too smart. They want material. Here's the thing. Here's the fuck of it all, Niall. It has to be something that's yours. Okay. It has to be yours, and you have to like, sitting in it and enjoy, using it. And that is what gets them.
I think, honestly, this is showing that maybe there is some kind of an anti-cosmic law of one mentality to a lot of cat behaviors. And so it makes me wonder if these fuckers are really if there's some insidious thing at play here where they actually are destructive instead of this kind of cosmic good.
It could be secretly sinister. Now, I'm coming from a place where I really love cats, but they are little shits, you know? They're not like... look, Parky the cat is not an evil cat. He's just mischievous and a little shit, and I love him. So I don't know. They could be. I don't know whether I want to classify them explicitly as evildoers, secretly masquerading as light bringers, you know. But there's room there for pranksters and mischievous, you know, extraterrestrial races, right? Like I think that
sure, yeah.
People are very focused on what's the benevolent race, what's the evil one.
Yeah, people really like to make it into a kind of black and white. Two pole thing.
What about the gray fuzzy area? Think about that.
Yeah.
That's another area where aliens.
And we're not just talking about the little tuft at the little kind of crotch area of the cat aliens.
Yeah, their fuzzy little crotch area that, you know, you always catch them licking themselves there, and you're like, God, can't you do that somewhere in private? And they just keep on going to town. And I'm assuming that's how Lyrans are as well.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that there's a 10-minute break. I think
the feline Aliens can like suck their own dicks and stuff.
Yeah, that's very true. No, you think that? You think that they're doing that for self-pleasuring purposes? No, they're all spayed and neutered. they're just cleaning up. So I'm assuming there's a 10-minute break during
the Alpha Draconians spayed and neutered the entire feline race.
Yes.
After the Lyran Wars.
Yes. Yeah,
it's like that biblical story where they tricked a whole town into getting circumcisions and then came in and killed all the men when they were hurting.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And that's so I'm just that's the other thing that I think we're gonna have to assume with the Lyrans is that they got their nads shucked off. I don't know why I use that word, but
I know, but it's good. I think that's a good thing to end on.
Thank you.
So, do you want to take care of some business?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, if you want to follow us on social media, we're on Twitter at IGW Podcast.
We're on Facebook.com/ItGetsWeirdPodcast.
And we're on all your favorite podcatchers. If you listen to podcasts somewhere, look up It Gets Weird, and we're almost certainly there.
We're on Blue Sky at It Gets Weird. Check us out there. We also are on Twitch.tv/ItGetsWeird. Just recently did a live stream with Colin, friend of the show Colin, who was doing a long 2-day stream session for Extra Life, raised some money. It was really, really great. Had a lot of fun. We're in the final 2 gyms of Pokemon Fire Red Nuzlocke, so check it out. So give us a follow. It's a lot of fun. Email us, itgetsweirdpodcast@gmail.com if you want your email read on the show like Fate had their email read on the show. Just shoot us a cool story or an interesting thing or your thoughts about an episode, whatever you'd like. Just let us know how we should address you, and you might have your email read out on the show. But if you wanna support us, and I know you do, check out patreon.com/itgetsweird. We have a $1 tier, a $2 tier, and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is the tip tier. You're saying, hey, thanks for doing what you do. Here's $1. You get the benefit of helping support your favorite podcast. But if you want bonus content, it's literally only $1 more than the tip tier. That's $2 a month for the bonus tier, where Niall and I watch It Gets Weird TV. We talk about weird television. Right now we're in the middle of Season 3 of The X-Files, which has been a lot of fun. Then people also get to vote on what show we watch next. So check it out. $2 tier is great, but if you want the best bang for your buck, the most value, we have a $5 tier, where we do World of Weird in the off weeks of It Gets Weird TV. There's a huge back catalog of content on there. You will be busy for hours and hours and hours. I honestly don't even know how much backlog of content there is, but it's got to be hundreds of episodes of things at this point.
Yeah.
So please check it out. You also get access to the Discord. We're chatting with our listeners just like you, and you get access to a Patreon feed of the main feed episodes 2 days early on Friday instead of Sunday. So please, so many benefits to the Patreon. You get to support us. We're only here because of your support. And we appreciate all of you who do. And if you haven't, donated to the Patreon, go ahead and check it out. Patreon.com/itgetsweird. However, if you can't donate, if money's tight, we understand. The least you could do is tell some people about us. Let people know we exist. We don't advertise. We don't do any of that horse shit. We rely on word of mouth, which apparently people do. I've heard tell friends and family about our show, and we sincerely appreciate it. So please tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your congressman all about It Gets Weird podcast.
All right. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for continuing to support the show. This has been It Gets Weird, and I've been Niall.
And I'm Kyle, signing out.